you're saying for the oil producing community is too low.
So the support that is needed, and once you get the support, your energy will blossom.
This is Nigeria. You need to give people sense of belonging.
Good morning, viewers, and happy holiday. My name is Bode Badebo. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Inside Nigeria. And as usual, we shall be taking you through from pages of newspapers, starting with Nigeria's most influential newspaper leadership, and as well have a discussion about a trending issue of the day. My guest is already set to join, is already with us. But before we come to our guest, let's quickly see what is on the front pages of newspaper today on Tuesday. Now let's see what is on Nigeria's most influential newspaper, the leadership. On the front page of leadership, despite President Muhammadu Buhari's marching orders to service chiefs, many Nigerians still trapped in captivity. Bandit prowl the north. Despite President Muhammadu Buhari's marching orders to service chiefs, many Nigerians still trapped in captivity as bandits prowl the north. That's what we have on the front page of Nigeria's most influential newspaper this morning, leadership. Let's look at the riders to the story. 1,908 kidnapped, 4,233 killed between January and April 2022. Government beheld military couple in Imo. We are working on safe return of kidnapped victims, according to President Muhammadu Buhari. And of course, the last rider to the story says, be ruthless on bandits, terrorists, army chiefs, orders troops. Be ruthless on bandits, terrorists, army chief orders troops at the battle front. You can see the photos on the front page this morning. They are all photos that capture the Eid al-Fitr celebration yesterday, Monday, being the first day of Shawwal after the Hijrah of the Prophet. And that is that on the front page of leadership this morning. Well, we have Daily Independence. This day next. What do we have on the front page of this day? Bury zoning and bury Nigeria. South Middle Belt leaders won. Bury zoning and bury Nigeria. South and Middle Belt leaders won. This is a politics story as reported by THISDAY this morning. Declare another 8 years of Northern presidency unacceptable. The Northern leaders, the Southern and Middle Belt leaders have now declared another 8 years of Northern presidency unacceptable. Well, this debate about zoning to be or not to be, it's an interesting debate to look out for or to listen to every day. Of course, that's on the front page of this day this morning. The newspaper on our menu this morning, Nigerian Tribune. Clark Adebanjo Obiozo to Northern Elders Forum. Dumping zoning will kill, bury Nigeria. Edwin Clark, and Afenifere leader Pa Ayo Adebanjo, and of course the President General of the Ohaneze Indigo Worldwide, Professor George Obiozo, are also sending warning to the Northern Elders Forum, saying dumping zoning will kill and bury Nigeria. God will show the way, Lawan, on purported presidential ambition. I will hand over to anyone Nigerians elect, according to President Muhammadu Buhari. Now let's see the next newspaper because of time. The Daily Independent is also politics. Buhari not part of plot to draft Jonathan into presidential race, according to the presidency. But then, if there is no smoke, there won't be fire. Buhari not part of plot to draft Jonathan into presidential race, according to the presidency. Okay, we keep our fingers crossed and wait to see how events will pan out. And of course, the last newspaper this morning is the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper today is reporting security matter. Terrorists use captives as human shield, according to President Muhammadu Buhari. Terrorists use captives as human shield. according to President Muhammadu Buhari. And of course, he's saying, well, it will be difficult to bomb the terrorists because there will be collateral damage. Service chiefs should locate, eliminate criminals. IG deploys surveillance choppers. IG deploys surveillance choppers. Well, that's on the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning. And of course, let me return to our guest joining me remotely, Barrister Ogenevo Utemu Esquire, an Abuja-based legal practitioner. Barrister, thank you for your patience. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you
Now,
for
we shall be
having me.
looking at the implementation of the Electoral Act 2022 in partial implementation of the Electoral Act 2022 as it affects Section 84, subsection 12, which actually mandates political office holders to resign their positions 1 month to the conduct of primary elections by political parties. And of course, we also know that a relevant section of the Constitution 1999 as amended 388 also stipulates that public servants should also resign their position when interested in political office 30 days to the election. Barrister Otemu, is there a conflict at all? Is there a conflict?
Well, to my mind, I don't think there's any conflict between Section 84, Sub 12 of the Electoral Act as amended and the provisions in the Constitution. There are several sections in the Constitution that talked about resignation, withdrawal from office before you can contest by public servants or civil servants, as it were. Now, the mistake or the error people are making here, which was the error the court made I think in Abia State, where he ordered the Attorney General to strike down Section 84 Sub 12, was because the court saw Section 84 Sub 12 as almost equal to those sections of the Constitution, which are Section 66, Sub 1, Section 107, Sub 1 F, Section 137, and Section 182. All these sections talked about if you want to contest as a president, as a governor, as House of Reps, or into the National Assembly or House of Assembly, you should resign 30 days or withdraw from your office. You must leave office 30 days before the election. Not before primaries, before the election. However, Section 84 Sub 12 specifically talked about political office holders, not civil servants, not public servants. Political office holder. Who are political office holder? Political office holder are not permanent staffs of any government. They are political persons who are appointed at the pleasure of the president and of the governors. And their employments, this is one distinction. Their employments are not tingled with statutory flavor. They are not protected with, their employments are not protected with any statutes. They are there at the pleasure of their appointee. Unlike public servants and civil servants whose employments are tingled, are garnished with statutory flavor. They enjoy statutory flavor into those positions. And so those are the people that the Constitution contemplated. However, the Constitution never contemplated political office holders who are there at the pleasure of their masters, who are meaning the governors and the presidents. So these persons are the class of people that the National Assembly now had to make law to govern how their political activities should be, which is that they must not and cannot be voted for in primary elections. They cannot also vote in primary elections, and they cannot be voted for. They cannot vote in congresses, and they cannot be voted for. So, and that's a clear provision of Section 84 Sub 12. It is not in conflict with the Constitution at all. It has no business with the constitutional provision. So trying to bring them together is just to create confusion and misinform the populace.
Now, Barrister, I know you are not a politician, but this question is political. I want to ask you, so I'll need your intervention.
I'm also a politician.
You are a politician?
Yeah, I'm also a politician, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know you are not a politician, but I want to ask you a political question, and I still need your intervention. Now, these ministers who have stayed put in defiance to the Electoral Act 2022, what other options is available for them? Because their party, the ruling All Progressive Congress, had also issued a directive asking them to resign if at all they are interested in contesting for election. Before, I think yesterday, now they have missed the chance by yesterday to resign. They work for President Buhari. President Buhari is the #1 leader of that party, the ruling party. So I don't know what kind of message are they sending to the rest of Nigeria as regard our electoral system.
Okay, so I don't want to drag President Buhari into this discussion because it is none of his business. President Buhari is not contesting election. So let's leave President Buhari aside. All the people in APC that have the intention of contesting, in my view, it is their best interest. If I have any of them as a client, I will advise that it is their best interest to resign before, as directed by the party, and good enough. The president is the leader of the party. So if the party has come out to say all political appointees should resign before yesterday, and they refuse to resign, it shows that they have no intention of contesting because they are already flouting the orders of the party itself. Now, then leave that aside. If they now go further, if the party now allow them to actually contest primaries and they win, you now go to section 84 sub 3. Section 84 sub 3 will now apply to them, which is the consequence of violating section 84 sub 12. Section 84 sub 3 now means that those people who fail to comply INEC will not, they will not be recognized as candidates. I mean, it's a political party fails to comply with the provisions of this section, of this act, in the conduct of its primaries. Its candidate for election shall not be included in the election for the particular position in issue. Therefore, it means that any of them that has refused to resign as directed both by the Electoral Act and the political party, that's APC, the ruling party, and they eventually conduct the primaries and they win, they will not be candidates. They will not be included as candidates. So some of these persons are very powerful in the party. They may eventually go on to win their primaries. And that's the danger for the party. If they win primaries, I'm afraid the APC will not have candidate for those positions because INEC is empowered not to include them in the forthcoming election. So you see the danger that they are creating for the party. I would really advise them, they should forget about that decision of that Federal High Court. They should forget about it and heed to the advice of the party and also comply with section 84 sub 12. Because if they don't do that, I'm afraid they will not only lose by themselves, they will make the party to lose those positions that they will have won to win prayer. And unfortunately, they cannot be substituted. That's the unfortunate part, to say, okay, the second runner-up will not be brought in eventually. No. That will not hold water. So the party will just lose those positions blank, and that will aid the opposition party being the PDP.
Now, the Attorney General of the Federation, who is the #1 law officer of the nation, is an interested party. In fact, he has declared his intention to contest for the Kebbi State governorship office. Now, tell me, you understand the workings of the Nigerian judiciary. Is it possible that the Attorney General already got a kind of assurance somewhere from the temple of justice that, well, the judgment, which is presently the matter which is presently before the appellate court, will favor some of them who are interested in resigning their position when they are still interested in contesting. They want to eat their cake and still have it at the same time. Is it possible? He must have gotten some kind of assurance that that judgment will favor his gang.
Well, we are in Nigeria where iron can float on in the river, so I will not doubt anything if there's any back discussion. And I don't want to go into that realm of speculation. However, I can assure you as a legal practitioner who have been in the game for some time, I'm a litigation lawyer, I can assure you very clearly that the decision of the Federal High Court in, I think in Abia State, or Enugu State, that decision will not stand. In fact, a year 2 student of the university who has done legal system will naturally know, not even to talk of somebody who's already in the law school, will know that that decision cannot stand, because the sections, those sections that my lord, with respect to my lord, refer to as being conflicting with section 84 sub-12 are parallel. They have no business together. And so if the Attorney General has one assurance from anywhere, that assurance, I am afraid will disappoint him eventually. And I can tell you this, there is no assurance from anywhere. Our judiciary is still a respected institution of government, who has, our judiciary has, to a large extent, held up to its standard. And so they will not do that. What is going on is just mere greed, personal interest, taking personal interest over and above the interest of the nation and interest of even the political party. The Attorney General wants to contest for governorship of his state. And so that interest is eating him very deep. And so he does not care what the party stands to lose and what all other persons stand to lose. And I'm also wondering that those persons who are contesting, there are so many political appointees. Almost all the ministers are contesting, from Minister of Transportation to Minister of Labor to Minister of Education to Minister, almost all of them are contesting. Are you telling me they don't have legal advisors advising them properly on what to do? And so, and most times when we call our colleagues, both seniors and juniors, want to advise, we tend to give our advice as it's in a way that it fits us, not the true position of the law. I will advise them clearly that the true position of the law is what the party has adopted, which is the advice by the party or the directive by the party that all political appointees who intend to contest should withdraw from or resign from their positions. If not, I will advise also the party, so that the party will not lose out totally, to disqualify all political appointees that refuse or fail to resign their appointment as directed by the party, and heaven will not fall. And that will be in the best interest of the party and for other contestants who have bought forms with a humongous amount that is being bandied around. For instance, if the Minister of Transportation wins the presidential ticket, and Osinbajo has contested with his hard-earned money, he's not a political appointee, and Tinubu wins it, Tinubu is there, who is not a political appointee. If they come out runner-up, which means they would have been the ones to win, assuming the Minister of Transportation did not contest. It means those persons' rights would have been affected by the refusal to comply with the law, and that will meet a high level of injustice on other contestants if the party refuses to disqualify them. So I recommend to the party that the party should disqualify all political appointees that has refused to resign, so that other political party members, other members of the political party of APC, I mean, and the APC itself will not be shortchanged.
All right, we are almost winding down, Barrister. Let's also look at this issue, the argument by President Muhammadu Buhari himself. You know, he communicated before assenting to that bill, he communicated to the National Assembly saying, well, this section of the bill is an infringement on the rights of political office holders, their rights to vote and be voted for, since the section forbid anyone who is interested in contesting for election to be a candidate, to be an office holder at the same time, and also be a delegate with the right to vote. So does that section, in your own estimation, amount to denial of rights for political office holders?
That section does not and has not and will not infringe on the right of anybody. It has not infringed on their right at all. If they want to be candidates in the elections, they should go and resign. Resigning before contesting does not infringe on your right. Okay, why did the Constitution? Will you now state those sections of the Constitution that directed civil servants to resign, withdraw, or retire 30 days before election also infringe on the right of civil servants? If you interpret Section 84 sub 12 as being an infringement on the right of political office holders, then Section 66, Section 182, Section and all other sections of the Constitution that mandated public servants, civil servants to resign 30 days before election, it means that it's also an infringement. So the president was wrongly advised, obviously, by the Attorney General. He was wrongly advised by the Attorney General, who himself was advising the president from his own personal and selfish point of view, because he wants to aspire to be the governor of his state while still in position as the Attorney General. He doesn't want to resign. And of course, he knows what will befall him if he resigns, because once you resign, the cloak of the cover of power is no longer there. You become a normal delegate or a normal party member like every other person. And so you cannot wield some powers that you have. And that is why they want to remain in those positions, in their position, and from their position use both public power, public resources, public apparatus to contest election. Because if you don't resign as a minister, as an Attorney General, it means you will be going to contest with our security covering you, with our vehicle, with your vehicle fuel, but with our taxpayers' money, and all that. You'll be using the resources of your position as Attorney General to contest. If the Minister of Transportation contests, while being minister, he will be using the resources of his position as a minister, as the Minister of Transportation, to contest. And not only that, for the remaining 1 year, there will be no governance. These persons will be 100% inclined and concentrated on their campaign and their campaign activities, their electoral activities. And so the governance will collapse. So it is the best law that the National Assembly has made. We have to commend the National Assembly for that law. Let them resign. Let them drop positions. Let other people go there and be working for the nation while they go and run for their elections. I think that's the best.
All right, finally, Barrister Otemu, I know INEC has a department called Legal Department in that commission.
Yes.
It helps INEC to also work, carry out its operation within the confines of the law. Now, is INEC not bound to also, at this point, sound a note of warning to political parties, aspirants, so that at the end of the day, they will not be caught on the wrong side of the law?
Not at all. I don't think that would be unnecessary, totally unnecessary. The law is very clear. If the political appointees, political office holders, if they feel they are bigger than the law, as they see themselves, and they feel like that they can violate the law and go scot-free, INEC will come in to tell them that, look, you have broken the law, and Section 84 sub 13 will now be applicable in the regard. So INEC cannot come in now until they eventually fall into the trap of Section 84 sub 12, just to implement Section 84 sub 13. That is when INEC will come, only to implement Section 84 sub 13. Not the INEC has no business advising people. It's not their business.
Barrister, let me just take you back. I like that word you use, that they fall into a trap. Is INEC supposed to watch anyone fall into a trap? You said the law is
No.
clear. Yes, I know the law is clear.
Yes.
But is INEC not bound to sound a note of warning at this time?
No. INEC is not bound to. In fact, if INEC starts sounding note of warning, then it means they have interest of one political party to protect. Other political party members are already resigning. So if PDP is implementing the law for its members already, and APC refuse to implement it, what is the business of INEC? Is INEC an appendage
So
of
INEC will become partial.
APC? INEC have to keep quiet, just remain neutral, and just be watching, holding section 84 sub 4 to their chest, then and watching all the events. After primaries, if parties now submit lists of candidates to INEC, INEC will now look at the list of candidates submitted, and they say, okay, Rotimi Amechi is the one that won presidential ticket. Malami is the one that won governorship ticket for his state, and those are the candidates of APC. INEC will look, did they resign? Because APC is supposed to furnish INEC with all documents. In fact, the candidate is supposed to furnish all documents to INEC, which should include his letter of resignation. And so if there's no letter of resignation pre the primaries, and they are elected at the primaries and returned as candidates, INEC will just disqualify, remove. The word used there is to say not to include. They will not include them as candidates. INEC will not include those persons who are political appointees known to INEC but do not have a letter of resignation. INEC will not include them in the list of candidates, thereby robbing their political party that chance to run and contest for that position. That position for that political party will not be vacant.
Barrister, this is an interesting topic, and I'm tempted to also ask you another question. We are supposed to wind down, but I'm also tempted to ask you another last question for the top
I'm available.
All right. Talking about resignation letter as a precondition, what about if backdated letters surface that these people had resigned before now? What happened? How do we authenticate that we are not being played?
That's a very fine position you have brought. While discussing this session with some of my friends, my colleagues, my friends, lawyer friends, we also brought this. I made mention of this. I said, what will happen is very simple. Nigeria, we are very smart people. Each of them would have, by yesterday or the first day, they have their letter of resignation submitted already in their hands. I can assure you, you will see this play out eventually. They have their letter of resignation already submitted, but not published. They will be going to their offices. They may not be signing documents from now till after the primaries. Then after primaries, if they lose, they quietly go back to their offices. This is what we can do in Nigeria. And then if the one that eventually win, we just automatically bring this letter of resignation and show it out that he has resigned. Maybe a month. They may have even resigned a month before now. We are there speaking English. I can assure you, these people that we are playing with, their politicians are very smart people. They may have their letter of resignation already signed, acknowledged in their hands already. And what the law says is just letter of resignation. It does not say there's another approval must come for someone. No. Just the letter of resignation that is backdated, well acknowledged by the authority that is supposed to acknowledge it. That suffices. They will acknowledge and KIV it. There's a file already kept just to hold it. Don't forget it is the party in power. So they'll just keep it. Then when eventually, after primaries, the one that wins, assuming, I keep using Rotimi Amechi as assuming, praying that maybe I'm prophesying for him that he may likely win. So I'm using him as an example. Okay, there's also Igige there, there's a Labour there. Assuming any of them, any of these ones win, they will just pull it out and put in their documents furnished to INEC, and that will be it. However, smart people, investigative journalism should be able to now dig deep to query that procedure and take it beyond the level. Because at that point, the party will tell you, oh, they submitted it to us. The person that is supposed to acknowledge it will say, I've acknowledged it. And that suffices. So all these persons may have resigned, and we are here speaking English.
Many thanks to you, Barrister Ogenebo Utemu, Esquire, an Abuja-based legal practitioner. Thank you for this wonderful insight on this issue this morning.
Thank you for having me.
We hope to see more of you when the media rise. Thank you, Barrister Utemu. On that note, we've come to the end of Inside Nigeria for this Thursday morning. My name remains Bode Gbadebo. Make a day with us tomorrow for the midweek edition of Inside Nigeria. We have Winifred of the ball. We'll be holding forth. It's bye for now.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.